Hi, I'm finally at stage 10 of the French polishing process I'm using, and I've waited 5 days since the last session of French polish that I had applied, which was, I think it was the 24th French polishing session, which was, I think, last Friday. So I waited Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, 5 days to let the finish harden. And finally, today is Thursday, I can do the final buffing and polishing, which is really easy using this method. So my materials are a soft foam pad. It's basically kind of flip-flop foam rubber softness. This one is about 3/4 of an inch wide by probably 1.5 inches long. And then I use little pieces of paper towel cut up. The paper towel is about 2 inches by 3 inches or something like that. And I will be using number 2 Novus plastic polish. It's called Fine Scratch Remover. They use it to polish plastic, basically, but you can use it on anything. But it's a very, very fine polish compound. So I'll be using that. And here's basically how I'd apply it. You take the piece of paper towel, fold it in half with the embossed side out, because that's the softer surface. And with this piece of paper towel, I can use it 3 times, because you set the pad on it like that. There, that's the first surface. Once that surface gets worn down, you just move the pad over so you have a nice clean surface again. And then when that surface has been worn down, you still have room to move it over one more time for a clean surface. So you can use it 3 times. And what you do is you take the pad, you put it on the first section, take the plastic polish, and just put a small dot on the head of the pad, like that. And then you just kind of smear it on the top there. You use very, very little. And if you have too much that you had put on, you just wipe it off and wipe your finger off onto the paper towel that I have set here, right here. Okay, and that's what you use. And it's at the head of the pad, because as you're polishing, you're going forward. So you apply the polish, and the tail end of the pad is dry and will be polishing what you applied as you move forward. And it's kind of the same movements as you have been using all along with the French polishing, just circular motions. And you use a very, very light touch. You're not really bearing down at all. Just a very, very light touch, just kind of floating on the surface to polish, do the final polishing. So that's what I'll be doing. I'll switch the camera now to show you how I do this. Okay, as always, I start with the back, and then I will put that dot of polish onto the head of the pad. Kind of smear it on there with my finger. Wipe my finger on my paper towel here. And again, I have a paper towel to hold the guitar so I don't put fingerprints on it. And here I go. Again, in circles, I will move forward. And as I'm moving forward, I'm depositing the polish, and the tail end of the pad is buffing the polishing compound that I have deposited. And I just can go over it and over it. Very light touch. It's not a sanding motion or anything. It's just lightly polishing any fine scratches that might be on the surface. And you don't want to use that same surface for too long, because as the compound might dry on the pad, once it gets dry, it gets a little bit harder, and you can introduce scratches if you're not careful, if you use that hardened polishing compound. And you can kind of feel it if it's starting to get, oh, that's beautiful. And then as you feel that you've used that section, just move the pad over. Put a new dot of finish on there. And move to a new section. Again, moving forward, and as you're moving forward, the back part of the pad is buffing the polish that has just been deposited by the front part of the pad. And you're just moving in circles forward. And doesn't hurt to go over the surfaces you've already done, because again, at this point, it's just more buffing that you're doing. The surface in itself is already nice and glossy, but this very light polishing compound makes it even more deep of a shine and deep of a gloss. So let's see if you can see that surface. It's right here, this portion here. Let's see. See where the light is. That's what I've been just starting on. I don't know if you can tell. It's hard to kind of show. But that's what I'll be doing. More of the same. And when I do the sides, the curved sides, I'll switch probably from this to a longer flexible piece of foam, probably like this one that I used before on the sides. Or, well, you get the idea. Just a longer piece. Okay, after this is all done, the whole guitar and the neck, then I can finally go on to putting this thing together and working on all the next steps, which is making the nut and saddle and gluing on the neck and the bridge and dressing the frets, all that good stuff, and setting the action. So it still will be probably a week or two at least before this guitar is finally playable. But as for the finishing, it's going to be done today. Hallelujah. Okay, bye-bye.